I think within academia, the political correctness that surrounds our conversations about religion, the taboos that prevent us from criticizing religious belief, those have to come off. So within an academic context, I think we need to be able to really demand that people be intellectually honest. I mean, essentially, all I'm arguing for is intellectual honesty. That people cease to pretend to be certain about things nobody can be certain about, and that our convictions really just scale with the evidence. So that if you're absolutely certain, you can say you're absolutely certain. If you just think it's probably so, you can say it's probably so. And people, I mean, it's important to notice that we play by these rules in every other area of our discourse. You know, we are never admonished to respect somebody's beliefs about biology, or about history, or about physics, and what we do in those, when the conversation turns to those subjects where there really is a domain of facts that can be talked about, we demand that people have good reasons for what they believe. And if they believe something strongly without evidence, and it's clear that their reasons are just a matter of, are nothing more than their conviction, or their reasons that can't be articulated, those people are quickly marginalized certainly from the conversation on those subjects.
You're getting a doctorate right now in neuroscience. You're an expert on neuroscience. Well, is there something about our brains that makes us believe these crazy things?
Well, I think it's, you know, there's been talk about the God gene, and there's certainly some effort afoot to understand religious experience and religious belief at the level of the brain. I think it's unnecessary to await that data. You know, whatever the truth is at the level of the brain, clearly this is a matter of human conversation. I mean, to allege that there is a genetic basis for religiosity immediately puts forward the mystery as to why the Swedes, only 10% of Swedes, for instance, believe in a God of the sort that 90% believe in America.
Well, they're satanic.
Right. Yeah. Right. Good point. But then you have the Danes and the Japanese and the Australians, and there are dozens of first world societies where secularism really is ascendant, and the United States really is an outlier. I mean, the United States is uniquely religious when you hold it up against Western Europe and places like Canada and Australia, and it's pretty obvious that there is unlikely to be a genetic or neurological difference between the average American and the average Swede. So I don't think it has to be understood at the level of the brain. I mean, I'm seeking to understand belief itself at the level of the brain. But clearly the way in here is conversation and challenging ideas, challenging ascendant ignorance. And we're not even doing that.
We could import more Swedes. Maybe that would help.
That's right. Encourage the Swedes to breed and emigrate. Yeah.
Speaking of ethics, when people stop believing in God, they tend to have sex with sheep. True or false?
Yeah, there's little evidence for that. Although I guess you'd have to go to Sweden to confirm that.
Oh, they're big sheep fuckers in Sweden. I've been there.
Right. Yeah, this link between religious conviction and morality, I think, is an utter myth, and I think this is something I'll tackle in my next book at some length, because it has really it's the first move religious people make in our culture, at least, to think that without paying lip service to this notion that we have timeless truths codified in some holy book and codified by God. We will just be at sea morally. We will just completely lose our bearings, and there'll be, you know, violence in the streets. There's no evidence for that, and the most atheistic societies in Western Europe, in particular, enjoy standards of living well beyond our own by almost any index that you want to use. And strangely, they are the most generous societies in terms of giving foreign aid to the developing world. You know, the U.S. ranks rather low. I think it's about 20 on the list of donor nations, and the the best donors, the Swedes and the Danes and the Norwegians. I mean, these are highly secular, highly atheistic societies. So, yeah, there's just, it's a complete fantasy to think that without the belief that God wrote one of our books, we're going to lose morality.